Rat Pack the Musical is on here at the Strand, and I have to say, of all the shows I've seen, it really does show the three people in it as true stars, because they're each part of the Rat Pack. We've got Sammy Davis Jr., we've got Dean Martin, of course, the great Frank Sinatra. I'm so blessed to have two huge stars with me today. Joining me is David Hayes, who plays Sammy Davis Jr. How are you?
Hello, it's great to be here.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your voice. I love an American accent.
Well, thank you. I'm working at it.
Yeah. You're still practicing.
Still practicing.
And we've also got Michael Nielsen, who plays Dean Martin here at the Rat Pack. And thank you so much for talking to us, because you've really mastered the art of perfection. You're not doing some kind of cheap cabaret show where you're just singing the songs. The little nuances that even most of the audience wouldn't notice, you've kind of both mastered. That's so great. How long did it take you to do that?
Well, I suppose we sat down and we did a lot of rehearsing. We did a lot of research. We did a lot of watching of the DVDs and videos that these guys have got. There's a lot of CDs out there as well, of course. So it's just a matter of watching, learning, listening, and then trying to somehow recreate that. It's not just about the voice. It's not just about the look. It's how you behave and how your physicality, really, without sounding, pompous about it.
So what is it then? You're great singers and then you're brilliant impressionists?
Acting is the main ingredient here. I think studying the character, as Michael said, I had the pleasure to actually meet Mr. Sammy Davis Jr. in '87, and I used to sneak in. I was in the cabaret room. He was in the main showroom in Atlantic City, and I would sneak in and watch him every night for a solid of 2 weeks. So I'm very fortunate to see the original, and what we can convey to the audience that's what we do. Has this secretively always been your dream to play this role then? Well, I guess so, yeah. It's been great. My first love is entertainment in the theater, so to be able to to do a tribute. Well, is it a tribute or just to act the part of?
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it's not a. See, I don't. Yeah, I don't regard the show as a tribute show.
No, it's
because
not.
I think to my way of thinking, a tribute show is a show that doesn't pretend to be anything other than some guys singing the songs of a famous group or whatever. What we're trying to do is we're trying to be Sammy, Frank and Dean. We're trying to let the audience into that night in 1960 when they performed live at the Sands Hotel. That's what we're trying to do. It's more recreation than tribute.
My favourite song from you was That's Amore, which you just nail. I mean, you get it so perfect, almost to the point where you think, is this guy any good at singing? He's kind of a bit slurred, but then you realise Dean Martin was slurred.
Yeah, he was. It's funny, that's not the first time I've heard that comment, because one of the other guys in the show, his wife came to see the show, and she said, Michael really slurs when he does Dean Martin, but then she went back and listened to the CD and went, do you know what Dean did as well? And that's what I mean. There is a difference. There is a difference between giving the audience what they think Dean Martin sounded like and actually just trying your darndest to be Dean Martin. And there is a slight difference. What you think Dean was is not quite what he was.
Like Mike was saying, just committing to the character, and you are at the Sands Hotel, and this is and it's Las Vegas, and these three kings are walking out, and there it is.
Well, they changed the way that singers and actors performed. It was less, hey, everybody look at me. It was more a case of, well, we're having fun. If you want to watch, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So a lot of the dialogue that the guys did wasn't eyes and teeth out front. It was just the three guys talking to themselves, amongst themselves. Yeah. And if the audience were part of that and sort of like listening to that, then that was cool. If they weren't, then it didn't matter.
It's their own party, and it's like the audience. Let's see if we can be in on this, and the rapport and the camaraderie and the magic. It's all the chemistry. You have the music, the band, and then the chemistry of the three guys together. You have three notes and it's a chord. So there we are.
There you go.
So it's different every night. I mean, we know where we're going. That's what it is.
So I saw Sammy and Liza Minnelli and Frank at the Royal Albert Hall in '87, '88.
Yeah, really.
And what was great was, yet again, David's talking about the chemistry. The chemistry between Frank Sinatra, who had a superb voice, Dean, who was a great comedian and just all around, sort of suave, appealing sort of guy, and Sammy Davis Jr., who was just one of the most incredible talents ever. That combination of those three worked superbly well, and that's what we try to do.
It is. It's not in competition. It all works together. Yeah. And you have Frank, who had the voice, and Dean had the charm. He walks in a room, he just light up the whole room.
And Sammy was just, as yourself, brilliant.
Well, you're too kind. He's my new agent.
One thing I want to say about you as Sammy Davis Jr. is, David, you're a phenomenal dancer, and you really had to be. I mean, of all three, with all due respect, you're the funny guy, you're the really funny guy. Frank's got to nail it with the songs, yes. But you have got to do everything. You've got to be the fall guy to his gags. You've got to be the great sound of the song to get the bigness of the voice, but you've also got to use that stage and dance around it like a bird. I mean, how much practice has that taken? I can't believe it's a great deal. It must be natural talent.
Well, I would say it is a gift. I used to travel with a company when I was 19 years old, called Young American Showcase, and basically they trained me to be a front man. So I had to keep pretty busy, and a lot of it came from just natural abilities and the desire to basically to please the audience. I think that's where it comes from.
One final thing about your performance that dawned on me: you can't be eating too many burgers on this trip. You can't be eating too many cream cakes. You've got to stay quite thin, because a fat Sammy Davis Jr. ain't going to work, is it?
No, I don't think so. But there's a lot of movement in the show. I mean, it's very physical to us. I mean, Mike as well. So we keep pretty fit.
Let's talk about your career. Yeah. You were in the biggest flop here in the West End, weren't you?
Yes, there was a show a few years ago. I can't even remember what year it was. My mind fails me at the moment. I think it was about 1995, 1996, something like that. There was a show called The Fields of Ambrosia, which was in the theatre next door. It was in the Adelphi Theatre, and we lasted 9 days. We had our opening night. The reviews were so shockingly awful that we got our 2 weeks' notice on our second night.
Oh.
And we only lasted another week.
Ouch.
So yeah, but it did have. I mean, the tagline, the opening song was "In the Fields of Ambrosia, where everyone knows you." That's a bit of a cheesy lyric, but it wasn't that bad a show. It wasn't that bad a show. It's just the public just didn't want to go.
Let me ask you one question that I've always wanted to ask somebody that's in a flop like that. Yes. Did you think it was as bad as the critics said it was?
No, I didn't. When I was in the show, I mean, because I've been in the business for 22 years now, I thought the show would last a few months. It was never going to be one of the major hits, like the Producers, which is now at Drury Lane across the road. But I didn't give it 9 days. I didn't. You have to. There are some actors who are completely unaware that they're in a show which is about to bomb through the floor. But I mean, I was pretty aware that it wasn't probably the best thing ever to come into the West End stage. But 9 days was just astonishingly short.
How much personal failure is in that? Because to get a show on stage, nobody has any concept of the number of people that gets a show like this on stage. Yeah. Did you take personal offence to the fact that everybody said it was so awful, or did you just go, you know what, this is a bad show, it's a flop, I'm leaving, let's move on?
Yeah, I didn't take any of it personally at all. I mean, there's absolutely no point. If the audiences are not coming in, if the press across the board is saying it's no good, though some of the things that were said were unnecessary, that's just the way it is. You cannot force people to come in and watch a show which is no good in their eyes. That's why the Rat Pack is good, because it's a new show, but people know what they're gonna get. So there's that safety element. Everybody knows Frank, Dean, and Sammy. So that helps a great deal.
Having said that, though, if you did poor impressions, your singing was awful, and you couldn't dance as Sammy, they ain't going to stay there through the whole 3 hours, are they?
Well, Probably not, but we're very fortunate, and every night it's exciting, it's different. Live band that's blowing in your face, and they're not in a pit or something like that, and they're there, and it's all great.
A recent problem with the West End is that the orchestras are getting smaller and smaller. You don't really hear much live music in a theatre, and to see them and to hear them, those guys are almost as talented as you guys in their own way, aren't they?
They are.
Oh, dare I say more so?
More so.
More so. More, let's say more so. I like that word.
Yeah.
They're great. They're a 15-piece band, and they're absolutely knockout. I've never heard them play a bum note or be late on any cue at all, and they're a very, very tight outfit. Without them, we'd only be 99% of the people that we are.
And who's our musical director?
Barry Robinson.
Okay.
He's a great pianist as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who's our director?
One of the best. Mitch Sebastian.
Thank you.
This is almost like a test, isn't it? It's just to try and remember names. We should say as well that they've just brought out this show on DVD, and they don't do that with many shows. Do you know why they decided to do it with this show?
The DVD, I think, is just a great idea, and I'll tell you why. As far as I know, David, there is actually only one piece of film evidence of Sammy and Dean and Frank doing the Rat Pack show, doing the Summit, and that was in St. Louis in 1965.
Right.
Now, which is
Johnny Carson
with Johnny Carson, because Johnny Carson had to come in because Joey Bishop couldn't make it that night. So that's incredible. You know, there is only one piece of film of these guys doing this. So we did a DVD, so at least there's two now. Where
do you find your energy to get through those 2 show days?
It's the audience. I mean, this is like the first time a lot of people have seen the show, and it's like, hey, you don't want the dentist to have a bad day in your mouth, right? So this is how we're treating this. We're going to come out and we're going to give the people the best of what we have.
And you really do. And congratulations again. It's the Rat Pack live from Las Vegas. It's out on DVD now. The CD's available as well. We've got a real problem now because I don't want to hurry along this interview and play a ton of music. What I want to do is play your favourite. One piece of music from this show that is collectively your favourite. What shall we play?
Angel Eyes. I would say Bojangles, but I want to give it to somebody else. So I would say Angel Eyes.
See, I would say Bojangles, which is yours. But my personal favourite is Kicking Ahead.
I love it.
So what are we going to do then? I mean, we've got Bojangles. We can't play 2. We've only got time for 1 song.
Angel, Bojangles.
Yeah, I'd go for Bojangles.
Really?
Okay, Angel Eyes.
I'll tell you what, we'll play Bojangles. I'll tell you why. Robbie Williams had a big hit with it recently. Everybody will know it. Thank you so much for sparing the time to talk to me today. David Hayes, who plays Sammy Davis Jr., you are an unbelievable talent. And
You're too kind. You're too kind.
Really, I've handpicked the shows I want to talk about on this show and handpicked the people I want to talk to. And your performance really was remarkable. And Michael Nielsen, who plays Dean Martin and also the MC in the show.
He's taking over.
You really are. And a funny guy and a talented guy. And I'm not going to hold your biggest flop against you.
No, and I'm very glad because it's only a small dressing room. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's Bojangles. We better leave it there. We'll be cut off.
The Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast with daisymedia.co.uk.
Alex Belfield.